So welcome, Chad. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic, thanks. And can you please tell us a little bit about the story of Lowens and the product?
You bet. Well, we're coming up to 10 years old now. So we started in 2010. I named the product, or pardon me, I named the company after my daughter, Lowen. I am a pharmacist by trade. So back in the day when we had our firstborn, she had, we were using natural diapers. So just, it was very difficult to keep up on the changing. And no matter how hard we tried when we did, we always ended up with rash. So a combination or a perfect storm of skin sensitivities, living in arid climate close to the mountains, and with the natural diapers, we just really struggled to get her diaper rash under control. So we had been using all kinds of prescription, conventional, natural products at the time, and really nothing was working. So what I did was reverse engineered what was on the market to come up with something, build a better mousetrap, essentially, find something that would work for us. So where a lot of the products on the conventional side were made with petroleum, I didn't want to do that. So
Mm.
I used a combination of non-GMO canola oil, camelina oil, cold pressed oils combined with beeswax and other antioxidants. And what we found was the very essential fatty acid rich formulas just worked gangbusters on rash for Lowen. And then we started gifting it, and those people would gift it out as well. So about a year down the line, we'd start getting feedback from people that we didn't know saying how well the product worked for them. So it was at that time that I thought, well, let's try this out as an entrepreneurial venture and see how it goes. And so, yeah, we've started out with our butter bomb, or it was called the bum balm back in the day. And since that time, we've gotten several other SKUs and expanded into hair care and face lotions and that type of thing.
Sounds fantastic. So, how do the products really differ from other natural brands on the market?
Well, when we started out, you came from one of two camps. You were either completely natural and you had a certain level of credibility, or people perceived that you had credibility based upon certain types of claims. And then
Mhm.
you come from the medical side of things where, depending on the camp, you're potentially suspect, right? So ne'er the two shall meet was how it was when I came in, because I was trying to walk straight down the middle, looking for evidence-based, traceable, natural skincare products. And really, the reception was not warm back in those days. But I think we've come to that realization now. A lot of people have maybe had some questionable experiences with perceived greenwashed products that are organic or don't necessarily have safe ingredients in them. And that's really where we excel. So the ingredients that we do use, we have relationships with the vendors. We try to source as local as possible. So we've got relationships with our vendors, plus they're as fresh as they can be. Again, traceable side of things. And for the products that we can't source locally, we have what we call a sensible sourcing approach. So again, try to get it as close to home as possible. If you can't, well, we've got to go elsewhere. Let's see what kind of supply chain measures do they have in place. Are they certified organic? Are they certified fair trade? What's the scale of the farm? Do they just say certain things, or are they actually living up to those standards? And I think that's one element that sets us apart. Again, the evidence-based nature of our products, the science behind it. And then in addition to, and a lot of people are looking to this today, the safety profile of our products. So we've got long-standing relationships with the Environmental Working Group and Cert Clean, as well as PETA. So we don't believe in animal testing. We don't believe that it's necessary. And then we want to make sure that our products are as safe as possible. I created them for my kids. I wouldn't
Mhm.
want to put them in harm's way, and certainly wouldn't want to do the same for our products. So working with EWG, we've really added extra multiple layers of diligence, where it's kind of looking at your product's safety profile from the world view. Whereas, sure, you're not using the Dirty Dozen in Canada, but there's a lot more to the safety profile of our product over and above that. So they look to the EU, they look to Japan, world leaders as far as product safety goes, and potential adulterants and scents and that kind of thing. And yeah, we've most of our products are verified. 100% of them are on the Skin Deep database, and you can check out the safety profiles on them there. So you can take my word for it as a pharmacist. We're pretty trustworthy, but you don't have to. You can go to the EWG and check them out yourself. So I think that's really what separates us apart. And we're affordable. So you're getting a product with a story, traceable, evidence-based, and we're not trying to bankrupt you in the process of purchasing it. So.
It sounds fantastic, Chad. So no preservatives in the product, all organic, very, very well documented.
We do use preservatives, but we use multifunctional ingredients, and that's another part of our procurement strategy. So if you use canola oil on the shelf at the supermarket, well, it's GMO for the most part, and then they use different organic solvents to strip it down basically to nothing. So then you've got an oil with adulterants in it that it'll have an indefinite shelf life, but it's not necessarily good for you. Whereas when you take a cold pressed oil, it may change in color and texture over time, but it also has self-preserving properties to it. So things like camelina and canola oil, hemp seed oil, they're very high in vitamin E, which is a preservative depending on how you look at it too. It's also a functional ingredient, but that's what we try to do when we source things. Beeswax has some preservative properties to it inherent in the compound. So then you don't have to add in a bunch of extra stuff just so that it can sit on a shelf for 5 years and look the same. So that's, yeah. So we do use some preservation, but it's as transparent as a process as we can do. And we're not going to throw in extra preservatives just because it makes it last longer.
So it sounds like the preservatives are really in the active ingredients. Can you speak to some of the active ingredients? Some of the reasons why you used what you did in the product?
Yeah, well, the one that I really like to talk to for the most part are the essential fatty acids, so omega-3 and omega-6. And I really, when I started out, I thought, okay, well, it's great to source locally and we want unrefined, cold pressed, that type of thing. But it was when I really took a deep dive into the science behind it to ask myself, well, why is this working so well? Because other products should work just as well in theory. But where I found the difference was again on the essential fatty acids. So in the North American diet, a lot of people know that our essential fatty acids are a bit out of whack. And the 369, right? People take supplements for that, but it can be detrimental to them because they're throwing out the ratios a little bit. But what I found was really interesting was that actually both omega-3 and omega-6, when you apply them topically, they have a local effect on the skin. So those two essential fatty acids are critical to the proper function of our skin. And if we're deficient in it, our skin's going to have trouble. And what really interesting piece of science that I found, well, they were treating neonates in sub-Saharan Africa with topical application of vegetable oils, very high in essential fatty acids. So you can't supplement an infant's diet with an oral vegetable oil. It's not going to work. So how else do you treat that? Well, they were applying it topically to the body and it was being absorbed, and it did treat their dietary deficiencies by topical application. So I use that same approach to rationalize why ours worked so well. So you have dry skin because there's something taking place with the integrity of your skin. There's an inflammatory process perhaps. So the omega-3 will spot treat that and then help to reinvigorate the dermis to repair it and then keep it moisturized overall in addition to.
Amazing.
So yeah, it works quite well. And we use a number of other interesting ingredients. There's actually a cool one that we just came upon, and it's coffee essential oil. There's a company that's just over in Okotoks, so it's kind of a bedroom community of Calgary. And what the company is doing is they're taking spent coffee grounds and extracting coffee oil, which in and of itself is just chock full of, again, essential fatty acids and antioxidants. So they're taking a waste product creating a value-added product that we're starting to incorporate into a couple of our lotions and their lip balms. And then they actually take the leftover coffee grounds that they've extracted and they create a coffee flour out of it that's really high protein. So it's things like that, coming across ingredients like that from local producers, that really gets our juices flowing.
So interesting.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Um, are there any contraindications for any sorts of people that should be maybe taking caution when using the product? It sounds wonderful and very, very safe. So,
Well, for that one, I think time will tell. If you have sensitivities to coffee,
yeah.
I wouldn't use it. But for our products in general, you know, where we got our start or early successes were people that were intolerant to everything else.
Mhm.
So they reached their wits' end and they wanted to try something just to find relief. And because our products, for the most part, are not scented, or if they have a scent, that's just inherent with oils or ingredients that we use. There's no dyes, there's no colors, that type of thing. So really no contraindications. We use our one cleanser called Use Your Cleanup Nice. We've been bathing our youngest since we brought her home from the hospital with it. But then at different estheticians, they use it for things like cleaning up stage makeup. That's how effective it is. So really our products run the gamut. They're good for everybody, but if you do have sensitivities, they'll work for you. But don't expect anything less. And that's what I think some people's expectations are set. You know, you buy something that it doesn't do the things that bother you, but will it do the things that you want it to? And I think we excel in that realm for sure.
Fantastic. And you mentioned earlier on diaper rash. Would this be good for people, say, who have eczema or psoriasis?
Certainly, yeah, our butter balm, that's where we heard a lot of the feedback. People would, well, if a kid has diaper rash, they probably have eczema as well.
Yeah.
So they would try it topically on around the eyes or the hands, and within, in some of the most extreme cases, within 24 hours, there was relief. I
Wow.
wouldn't necessarily use our zinc containing diaper balm for that. Now, some people that are exposed to the water a lot will use it for that approach, just for water wicking purposes. But
Mhm.
yeah, butter balm works great for psoriasis and eczema, as well as we recommend butter balm kind of like the first step. It's a balm, right? So it's a bit heavier. All of our products do penetrate and absorb into the skin. If they are greasy, it just means that you're using too much. So if you scale it back, they will absorb, but a lot of people don't necessarily want to be putting a balm on before they go to work in the morning. So for maintenance, or water-based lotion, rub it in, why don't you, is kind of what we recommend. It's a little bit more cosmetically appealing. So you try butter balm maybe at night, you throw it on your hands, put some gloves on, and then once you get that under control, just daily use of her lotion seems to keep things under control for the long run.
Fantastic. And the lotion you could use on your face, I would imagine.
Well, I do. And the tough thing is I'm a guy formulating skincare products, and some people that are not like me want something a bit more specific. So that's actually how our face cream came to be, In Your Face. It's
Love
based
that
on
name.
that's where you put it. It's based on the formulation of Rub It In. So my mother-in-law actually had been asking me for, hey, you create something that's good for age and wrinkles. And I said, well, I created it years ago. It's Rub It In. No, I don't want to use that. I want to use something that's specific. So I took that and added in a bunch of active ingredients like niacin, panthenol, alpha lipoic acid. It's got a bit more hyaluronic acid in it. And then the fat soluble version of vitamin C. So definitely there's value adds in the active ingredients. But the crux of it is it's rub it in, why don't you? And yeah, that's what I use basically for everything. Before I created a shave balm, I was actually using it to shave too.
Well, that sounds fantastic, actually. And I really want to tell people where can we find your products?
For sure. Well, we are available locally in Calgary at a number of stores. So there's Natural Artist Skincare and Soma Salon and Spa, Medicine Shop Crowfoot. In the Calgary Farmers Market at Growing Co. If you are looking outside of Calgary, you'd can check with Federated Co-op stores. They carry a number of our SKUs, so that's from Manitoba to BC.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's always online. We have a really well-running e-commerce store at www.lowens.ca.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And you mentioned earlier about your daughter, Lowen, and the diaper rash. Do you have any testimonials you'd like to share about the product? Maybe someone's written to you, or you've seen miraculous results with other people that you'd like to share?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't. There have been lots, and we certainly have them up on our website. People are very kind, and they give us a lot of testimonial feedback. A lot of it came in the early days, and not necessarily, well, hearing the feedback on Butter Bomb and our Bum Bomb Blues is kind of what got the business going. But some of the things that really hit me, again, our cleanser, You Sure Clean Up Nice. There was an individual that was going to one of our partners and was just struggling. She couldn't find any cleanser that didn't cause her face to swell up, get all rashy and everything else.
Oh, goodness.
And she just happened to give ours a try. And she said, yeah, she was crying. She was so happy that she found something that worked. And it's stories like that that really, they sink in. And, you know, being an entrepreneur isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. But when you get feedback like that, it really lets you know that you're on the right track and you're putting a product out there that is improving people's lives. And it's not just about selling things too, as far as our line goes. We want to do for the community. We're a service company. So we're not just selling widgets. We want to improve everybody's life. Our mission is betterment. So that really hits our mission statement. Did we make this individual's life better? Well, based upon her feedback, we certainly did.
That is beautiful and so important, so important. It's so heartwarming to feel that, you know, after a testimonial that you know someone who's used your product and really benefited. So
Well, particularly where you don't see people, right? We don't have a front store. We're not helping people in that respect. So for them to take the time out of their day and send us an email, they've never really spoken to us. They might know a little bit about us, but yeah, that's just really amazing that people will do that. And we do get it quite often. So we're very, very thankful.
Wonderful. I cannot wait to try the products myself. They sound fantastic, Chad. And any final words before we end our session today?
I don't know. I think if people can play it forward, that's ultimately what we're looking for. It's a real interesting time these days with what's going on the health side of things with COVID and politically, no matter where you are. So yeah, I think let's just work together to make the world a better place. I know that may sound cheesy, but ultimately that's really what we're after here.
Sounds good to me. Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It was such a pleasure.
Likewise, thanks for spending some time with me. I appreciate it.
Of course.